From NBC News, this is Today.
It may not be an exact science, but there is a right way and a wrong way to say I'm sorry. So when Tiger Woods publicly apologized for his behavior, everyone was watching to see what he would say and how he would say it. It was a public confession unlike any seen before.
I was unfaithful. I had affairs. I cheated.
His words were carefully crafted.
It's hard to admit that I need help, but I do.
But unlike that famous Hollywood scene,
love means never having to say you're sorry.
Tiger Woods' script was different.
For all that I have done, I am so sorry.
But not everyone thinks Woods needed to apologize.
I believe that he owed America no apology at all.
And others believe public apologies can seem insincere.
It's kind of hard to go, oh, you're sorry now because you got caught?
I think the public apology has become so scripted that it's hard to think of one that felt sincere.
For celebrities and public figures, calling a press conference or posting an apology on the internet may be the most effective way to reach constituents or fans.
I felt it was time that you heard directly from me that I am sorry.
But if you're not famous, is it ever appropriate to express regret using social media?
I don't think so. It's too impersonal. It's cold.
I would say definitely a face-to-face is, it means a lot more.
I think it's chicken.
He's very cowardly. Very cowardly.
Lauren Bloom is an apology expert, yes, an apology expert, and author of The Art of the Apology, and Dr. Gail Saltz is a psychiatrist and Today contributor. Yes, Today contributor. Ladies, good morning. Thanks so much for being here. Lauren, you're the apology expert, which, on a side note, that must be the coolest thing to put on a business card. But let's get right to why we're here. How do you think Tiger did in his apology? How would you grade him and why?
I'll give him an A-. Because, yes, I know it was a little wooden, I know he was scripted, and I know it was a very carefully controlled event. But he said, I'm sorry. He took responsibility for what he did. He didn't make excuses. He hit all the bases on the different groups of people he defended, and he promised us he's going to do better next time.
You said you did have one issue with the apology, and that was his anger towards the media?
Yeah, I can understand it, but I think it was misplaced, particularly in this setting.
Okay.
It's perfectly acceptable to say, look, give my family a little room, please. Give me some privacy. There are some issues I really would prefer to keep between my wife and myself. He could have said all of those things without the anger very effectively. As it was, I think it really detracted from the overall presentation.
Gail, you found this to be a fairly emotional speech. Is that appropriate, or was some of that emotion misplaced, do you think?
Well, I think the emotion we saw mostly, quite honestly, was shame. And I think and that's why I think it looked wooden, because that is so massively painful. It's so, to expose yourself and your shame to the world, essentially, is very, very, very difficult. So I think that's understandable, and I think that shows us that he really does feel sorry, and he really does want to do the work of change.
From your professional perspective, did it sound or did it come across like he has been in therapy?
I definitely heard pieces that made it clear to me that he's been in therapy, and that is not a negative. I don't mean, oh, we're just hearing therapy speak as though it's not sincere. I mean, sincerely, you heard him accepting the blame for his inappropriate behavior. He used the language of, I really did this, I really own this, I'm responsible. And that's the first step that you try to get to in making change in therapy.
Now, you both realize that his wife, Elin, was not at the press conference, but Tiger did say, quote, we are starting to work through our own issues. Given the multiple infidelities, if you can answer this question, is this marriage fixable? I mean, can you tell from your perspective?
I think it's always possible for an apology to be effective enough to heal a relationship. Whether it's going to be in this case or not, I don't know.
I think the question is, we don't know who Elin is and whether she's the kind of person who could ultimately forgive, not forget, this many transgressions. And we don't know if Tiger is the kind of person who, in the long haul, because that's really the issue here. It's not what the change in the short term, but a long haul will be able to make substantial changes in issues that he discussed, like narcissism, being entitled, not doing what you feel like doing at the moment, really fixing super ego, which is your moral compass. Can I play by the rules?
And as we both, and we all talked about before the interview, we can never begin to understand what someone else is going through in their marriage. Thank you both so much, Lauren Blum, Dr. Gail Saltz. We really appreciate your time. We're going to send it now over to Lester out in Vancouver.